What's up you guys, Tommy Shaw here, and today what I'll be talking about is what they're talking about, the federal digital dollar. It's in the new government bill that they're trying to pass to give money to the people. The first line is creating the federal digital dollar, okay? The old creation of money was money as debt, as an I.O.U. The federal bank, what they would do is buy treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. Now, the new system, money would be created through transaction. As soon as you want to buy something, the money would be created. You need that, you buy it, money gets created, okay? That's what I was reading and that's what I was trying to understand. It's not exactly like that right now. We don't know how it's going to be, but as I was reading through this document, this is what I could understand. Inflation was controlled by the money supply and interest on loan, on the debt, on the money. Now, inflation will be controlled through taxes on consumption. So what I can understand is that if a person buys too much, maybe it would be different for each individual, but if a person would buy too much or spend too much, his taxes would go higher. So that would like prevent from inflation from happening, because if the item you're buying costs more because you're spending too much or the people are spending too much and taxes is raised automatically on each item, what this would do is it would cost more to buy the item and it would slow down consumption. This is what I seem to be understanding, or maybe the inverse correlation. If they see that the economy is slowing down, they would reduce taxes on consumption so people could spend more and put back the money in the economy. So everything is a little bit upside down. It's very hard to grasp the idea because we're used to working with this old system and now we're going towards a new system. Anyways, now on the old system, taxes used to be gathered through your salary, capital gains, on transaction, consumption taxes. The new one, they're saying that IRS won't be needed anymore. Like, I don't know why, but as the document was saying is that everything would be documented. Every transaction would have a log. They know everything about you. They know where you spent, where you went, everything you bought, the cars, all the assets that you own would be gathered by a collective agent which would know everything about you, okay? So the need for an IRS, it wouldn't be needed anymore. So maybe they're looking at that to save or to allocate resources in another way where they're trying to restructure the whole organization. Anyways, that's in theory, that's what I'm thinking. And that's what the documents seem to be saying. Now, the digital currency is in a digital wallet. And now, when I was reading this document, it seems like there's going to be other federal banks that's going to be opened up. And it looks like you're going to have a digital dollar in your bank account. And it's not sure how it's going to happen, but I know that if you take the amount in a digital currency, you will receive it faster than if you take a check. So let's just remember, the weird part about this is that before, when somebody wanted to create money, they have to go to the Fed and it became an I.O.U. to the Fed. So is this the same process? Is it when you create money through a transaction, when that money gets created, is it because it goes on the balance sheet of the Fed? Does that mean you owe money to the Fed? So it's a tricky question because you need to think about this. Okay, maybe I'm getting money, but is it going to be attached somewhere? Is it something that I'm getting myself into debt for? Maybe not, but like I just feel it sometimes. There's no free lunch and we need to think about consequences. Of course, if you need the money, take the money, and maybe there's nothing attached to that. But at the same time, I just find it curious that it would belong to the Fed, okay? They show up where? Where are the money, exactly? Do we owe that money to the Fed? Because it's a good question. It's something that we need to understand how this new systems works, because I'm always trying to understand where we're going. Because when we know where we're going, you could snip up a little bit of profits here and there, because if you're able to do arbitrary because you see something that's unusual in the market, well, you're able to be upfront and understand where we're going and not be afraid of this. So let's go back to everything that I've covered in this video. Federal digital dollars. Old creation, money was created as debt, as an I.O.U. When people borrow from the bank, money was being created. When you pay off that debt, it destroys debt. So that's why you can't pay off debt, because the only way you can pay off debt is through the process of inflation. Money is being created through treasuries, MBS. They buy that off the market and put money in the system, liquidity. And now the new money would be created through transaction. Every time somebody want to buy something, through a transaction, you want to sell bananas, I buy your bananas, there's a transaction, there's taxes, it goes directly to the government sees that, they know, okay, they just bought bananas, and they know exactly why you bought that, the consumption, everything. If it's an asset, a TV or anything, it will be considered as the same thing. Inflation. Inflation was controlled by the money supply. When you say you want to print more money, quantitative easing, or the interest on that loan. If they lower interest, you have more accessible money, so you can put out there in the economy, or you can borrow more, or you can increase the net asset value. Remember one of my videos, I've talked about the weighted average cost of capital. If you bring down the cost of debt, it increases all the future values, which increases the net asset value of any investment vehicle. Inflations will be controlled through taxes and consumption. If we spend too much and inflation goes out of control, they'll probably increase taxes on all transactions, which will slow down the economy, and vice versa. If it's slowing down and people, they want to stimulate the economy, then they'll do it the other way around. Now, before or right now, salary, capital gains, transactions, you're paying taxes on it. The new system, well, you wouldn't need any government officials to declare or see, unless we barter. Like if somebody barters gold for something, then nobody sees that. Or if they use something else that the government can't track these transactions, then maybe the government will still be needed in those cases. But if the digital currency tracks everything and they have all the information, well, there's no need for somebody to go look at your papers and try to understand what's going on. So where do they show up? Do they show up on the Fed's balance sheet? Is it an I.O.U? Every time you do a transaction, well, you owe money to the Fed. Well, it's essentially, if you're becoming a slave to the Fed, then you need to be careful. I'm just trying to understand, okay, what are the implications of the new system? Maybe it's an awesome system, because what they're saying, the reason why they want to create this money is because essentially there's a lot of fees when you're doing through transaction with the old currencies trading, and that there's like a 3% cost going through the old process through banking, which was not needed. And if you go to this new system, there's almost no cost. It's very quick, it's very easy to put money in people's bank account. And they're also saying that you get a 1.7% on the money that you invest with the federal bank. Like the money you leave inside that federal bank, essentially you'd be making 1.7%. I don't know why they said 1.7%, maybe because inflation was at 1.7. Maybe they're gonna give exactly the amount of inflation, and it's going to probably adjust with inflation to see how it's going and where it's going. And exactly. So hopefully this video makes sense, gives a clear picture of where we're going. Maybe we're not even going there, but that's in the bill right now. They're talking about it. And I just wanted to share what I've understood from the document. Just try to make everything clear. And if you like this kind of information, just leave a like and subscribe. I'll be seeing you on the next video.